And I see a lot of labyrinth on your Instagram. Do you have a story
Yeah.
behind it? Can you tell us?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I hope Dana Long is listening because she's such a big part of that. But I guess that goes back to Keiko, you and I know each other because I had a different shoe line in New York City and it was
Yes.
called 80
Yeah.
Footwear.
Yeah. I wanted to
And
go back to that too. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you want to go?
yeah,
Do
we
you
go
want to go
back.
all the way back? Okay.
Well,
Time machine to the beginning. A
yeah,
little
I'll
bit
touch
about like
first.
80/20. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the labyrinth first, then we'll talk about 80/20
Okay.
second. So when I was
Okay.
in New York, I had a shoe business called 80/20 Footwear, and my biggest claim to fame was the hidden wedge. And I launched that back. It's like an embedded wedge into a boot, which of course you've seen
Yeah.
a lot of it now. It's not new, but like this is in 2006 or something that I started doing this, and it really put me on the map in the footwear community, and I sold to like Anthropologie and Urban Outfitters, and I even did private label with Aldo, and I did this whole thing, and I had employees, and everyone had health insurance and paid vacation and this whole thing. So I grew the business pretty big, and at that time it was all about the wholesale model, right? I mean, that was everything. So, but it hit a wall in 2012 where the trend was adopted by a lot of other companies, and I wasn't the new fresh face on the block anymore. And I was also just burning out myself. I was doing 4 collections a year and really financing it myself, well, with the help of one of my factories. And it really just got to be too much. I mean, I was trying to compete with like, the big companies
The big
for
guys.
space in the stores, and like Dolce Vita or Jeffrey Campbell or even Steve Madden, and I didn't have the infrastructure support that they had, so it was almost like a impossible type of thing to sustain. But I closed that in 2012, and it was very heartbreaking for me because I had put so much into it, and it really had been like a identity point for me in New York, having this line and all the things that went around with it. And we had this great studio that you worked in.
Yeah.
And, I had to close it. So it was a very painful process. And I really empathize with anyone right now who is going through that on any level with the pandemic. I mean, you're lucky that it's not, no one's lucky, but it really is like universal as opposed to like something that you individually did. But it's crushing to have to like
close,
downsize, close, any of that. So it was a very painful process. And then I moved to California, and I was working at a handbag company, and I was doing like mass market stuff, and I felt like really far away from that part of my identity. Like I felt like I was kind of being erased in a way, or I was just like losing any sorts of myself that was about the designing footwear, So I had talked with you about it, and I talked with Dana about it, and I really didn't have a new shoe like planned. I was just kind of like feeling this, these deep grieving feelings. Dana said like we should create some sort of ceremonial type of thing for you to release that pain and to essentially like step into your new life, which is in Southern California, and give birth to your new identity as a footwear designer that doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be pinned to what you've done in the past. Like it really can be like a
new thing.
So she really suggested this idea of creating a labyrinth of my old shoes and doing it like in my heart. And having it be this process where I walk through it, but I also reflect on the shoes, like as we, uncover the archives. And there was like, I mean, there's probably 1,000 shoes. I mean, it was just like so much, it was just, I put some pictures.
It was more than, I saw that on Instagram. That's great.
And that was probably even like, filtered down from what I had in New York. I mean, I had just had like tons and tons and tons.
Well, you had over 10 years, and then you also had multiple seasons, and each season you had like 30, 40, I don't know how many styles you did, but a lot of styles.
Yeah, like 3 colorways per style. So, I had gone through like a couple of rounds of minimizing this, especially in New York when I closed the business, and then moving out to California, and then you know, moving into an apartment that I wanted to not have a storage unit like separate. But even that, it was a ton. It's still kind of a ton. But I was so like kind of like tied, or like you know, these are like my children. I didn't want to give them up.
Yeah.
But we went through this
You
process.
you needed to go through that emotion somehow with it,
Yeah.
right? And the ceremonial setting really helped you go through it, literally walking through.
Yeah, and do it with someone else, like, you know, not just like on my own. I think that's so important now with grief of any kind, with you know, the pandemic, or just what's changing in the world, is to be like, have community and like have people to process it with you, supportive people. So so, you know, she built this labyrinth in the courtyard of my building, and you know, it was just like this amazing creation. And then to, you know, go through it with her and contemplate each shoe and what I actually really wanted in there, what I could discard, and then essentially walk through it and say to myself, like, you know, I'm rebirthing to a new type of identity, was really a process. And we recorded it. And then I guess furthermore, after that, I was able to let go a lot of these shoes and like really think about, like, before Marie Kondo even said it, like, does this shoe bring me joy? Can I just let it go? And that was like an ushering of a new stage for me.
Great. And is that where you got your name as well, from this labyrinth?
Yeah, because I think
you are
this idea of like the quest for the vision of my life, which is really a shoe designer. I mean, I really feel like that is why I'm here. And I think it's important to also know that and believe, like, whatever else I need to do, like, I mean, I might have to take other work as something else now with the pandemic in some way. I mean, we all might. And but to kind of know that just because you do that doesn't mean like you've given up your identity. Whereas I think in the past I thought that maybe I had too much tied to, like, well, if I'm doing this, that means I'm this person, which, you know, that's really just something in your mind. But you also have to keep that alive, like, you know, what it is, like, you have to foster that too.
Oh, this is great. I love that story behind the name, as well as your journey. And I think you're still on the journey. And I think with these kind of pandemics that like just hit everybody, it's almost like, okay, it's a setback, it's a challenge that we can overcome, we can ride, we can share, you know. I think it's part of it. I'm seeing a lot of comments from maybe your customers saying, hi, I've been wearing my shoes so much, I love them, the best.
Oh, really? How come I don't see these comments?
Oh, you don't see it? You can scroll through it later, maybe. And then there's also,
I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then there's somebody who, Christina says we should restart a creative group with biz owners.
Yes.
Yes. This is great. Oh, cork leather is a great alternative. Somebody, I think you've worked with cork fabric.
You know, I did, and honestly, it didn't perform that well for me. Like, I mean,
shoe.
in terms of like sales,
for a
like,
vegan
I mean,
version.
it looked good, but I think you know, that was a lesson where a lot of people said you need to do a vegan offering, so I did one, but you know, it didn't perform as well as the leather. I mean, everybody would try them on and say, oh, these are great, but the leather is so much better. Practicing vegan, I mean, I'm mindful of you know, what I eat and so forth, but since I'm not doing that with my own life, you know, I'm essentially owning the fact that I work with leather. And to me, leather is a byproduct of the meat industry, and a lot of people have issues with that, but that's, you know, not going away. So, you know, in that sense, you know, I'm using what is a byproduct of the meat industry. Leather has a long-term life. It doesn't really deconstruct, and it doesn't emit what maybe PU or faux leathers would emit when they break down. So yeah, I mean, I work with leather, and that's what I do. So, and I understand that some people who are vegan may not purchase from me, but you know, that's okay too. They'll find their way. Oh, what happened to Keiko? Let me scroll through some of these things now. I see. Okay. Los Angeles. Oh, my cousin Matthew's listening to me. That's so great. Long Beach. Heloise. Hey. Oh, Katie Hamer. Yes, I got my pearls. That is my thing. I wear them all the time. Lorna, she's going to hand paint some shoes, which is super exciting. So, you know, maybe I'll just take this moment while Keiko is gone to give you some, look, wait, how do I do this? Of my showcase here. I've got the Laguna Lizard, which is like super beautiful. And the Blue Moon Metallic. Ooh, this is a little hard to do it this way. Well, anyway, I have a showcase in my house that prior to this was my home boutique. And I would have people come over and try the shoes on, and then, you know, I'd make sales here, especially if I wasn't doing live events. So I don't know when that will open up, but I really enjoyed that because with shoes, you know, you really have to try them on to see how they feel. And I mean, that, I don't know how that's going to change. I mean, people are talking about, I don't know, regulations about like even trying on shirts or so forth. So honestly, I don't know how that's going to change, but I do provide little footsies, those little like nylon things for people to try the shoes on. But yeah, I mean, that's something to think about. So, where is Keiko? And are we losing people now because I don't have a buddy? So let's think. I guess she had asked me on her own, what are some of my visions for the next stage? And I have always liked the idea of having a, like a mobile store, like, get a minivan or like a VW van and outfitting the inside so that I can have the shoes in there and have, you know, a way that people can try them on, and showing up at, well, I was going to say events before, but in different places so that people can just kind of walk on and you don't have to have like the overhead of a full store or anything like that. That's something I'm still kind of curious about. And at the same time, I always thought that would be a way for people to salvage, or for me to salvage the leather, you know, on the journey. So I still like that idea. But yeah, I guess like all of us, we don't really know what's going on. I think it's just really important that we kind of get close to what really makes us happy and joyous in our life, and harness that and nurture that. And even if it means, as I said, that there might be another way you have to bring in money to support yourself, you know, it's okay. You have to do it and you have to survive. And that's what it's all about. So, you know, just keep your dreams like alive, nourish them, learn more, build community. And that's pretty much all we can do right now. So I'm going to say goodbye, but it was great to see everybody. And thank you for joining Shoe Talks.